Hey everybody. Today I'm talking about starseeds and lightworkers who show up with an anxious, preoccupied, insecure relationship attachment style. So that is all comes from, unfortunately, childhood trauma and parents who were inconsistent. And this has had an impact then on the person throughout all their relationships, including the relationship to themselves. So we're going to dive into this and look at this particular type of attachment style and, look at how it shows up and some of the things that can be done about it. But first, let me introduce myself. I'm Natasha Bailey from Soul Mission. So today's video is part of a series of videos that I'm doing right now based on me going deeper into my healing and having recently gone through another dark night of the soul where I dived a bit deeper into my own childhood trauma and how it's affected my relationship with other people. So in previous videos, I explained that depending on how our parents were with us, whether they were consistent, reliable, loving, kind, or not, determines how secure we are, how attached securely we are in relationship with others and also with ourselves. So today's video is about the anxious, preoccupied attachment style. So how does this show up? So these people tend to worry a lot, ruminate a lot, and feel anxious about the status of their relationship. I'm just referring to notes here, by the way. So they interpret signs or signals from their partner in a way that makes them feel anxious about whether their partner still cares about them. They tend to, when they feel triggered and uncertain and insecure, they tend to chase the other person. It could be through text, phone calls, or going round. And they're needing a lot of reassurance a lot of the time. And they're asking for a lot of attention, like to a point which is not healthy, meaning they might require phone calls several times a day, reassurance, and they might insist or want on meeting up like too much to the extent that neither neither person has a chance to live their own life or get on with their own life. And I say too much, and I'm not going to give you like a definitive answer as to what that may be because everybody is different. And we also have to take into account that the first couple of months when people get to know each other in relationship, they naturally want to spend more time with each other. So they may spend a lot more time with each other than normal. And then when the relationship settles down a bit and secure attachment has been formed between people, that will lessen. So I'm not going to put a kind of a framework as to how often is too often, but what can happen is it can really put the other person off. It might feel too smothering, might feel like the other person doesn't have space. The anxious, preoccupied attachment style can also come across a bit controlling or manipulative. And that is not from a judgmental place. It's coming from a completely unconscious place. So they might kind of, I don't know, they might send innocent looking messages like, hey, how you doing? Haven't heard from you. And then they might send another message and, I hope you're well, or other messages. But the intention behind the message is to elicit a response, rather than just sending, love. And it happens on an unconscious level. So I'm going to give you an example. So I was in a relationship with someone who I understand now when triggered, became anxiously preoccupied. His insecure attachment style was triggered with me. And I remember at one point I asked that I have a little time for myself, like a couple of days. And, I was just bombarded with 4 or 5 phone calls, over the next 2, 3 days, demands to speak to me. And he didn't respect my need to have a bit of time for myself, a bit of space for myself. And just that onslaught of messages felt very overwhelming. And the time that I would have had to just like sit and be with myself and just chill and relax and contemplate our relationship was constantly being disrupted because, he was constantly phoning and, asking and demanding attention. So in this way, it almost becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The anxious attachment style ends up pushing away people when they actually want to bring people closer to them. So it's very, very self-sabotaging. So where might they have picked up this style of relating? Well, invariably from parents and caregivers. So I found in my experience, in my own personal experience, but also talking to other people with insecure attachment styles, that one or both parents had some kind of mental health problem. Either they had a complex post-traumatic stress disorder, so they were either narcissistic, borderline, or they suffered from anxiety themselves, psychosis, depression, or aggression. Yeah. So the parent was inconsistent. They may have abandoned the child. The child may have been abandoned at an early age. It might have been an unsafe environment to live in, with violence, alcoholism, or, just general chaos. Chaos either towards the child, but can also be between the parents. So what ended up happening is the child felt unsafe and insecure, and this then got embedded into the nervous system, because the first 7 years of life, our brainwave states are completely open. So we just soak in all that programming, unconscious programming. So the solution is to all of this is to create a secure attachment to yourself, because the anxious preoccupied is trying to always look outside him or herself for reassurance, love, attention, energy, power. And it's like a bottomless pit. It's a well that can never be filled entirely by another person. So the trick is we need to fill our own well. And we need to reparent and heal that inner child, that wounded child within. So in a separate video, I'm going to go into detail as to some of the things that has been helping me. If you like this video, please click like, subscribe, share, comment. If you feel that this might be your attachment style, I'd love to hear from you. But for now, I want to give a shout out to some people who've inspired me to create these videos. So here's a shout out to Thais Gibson, Brianna McWilliams, Richard Grannon, and my EFT tapping coach, Linda Anderson, all of whom have given me so much to be grateful and think of as I continue my own healing journey with my insecure attachment style. Okay, that's it for now. I'm going to see you in the next video regarding the avoidant attachment style. See you later.